A tablet of great significance, described by Baha'u'llah as the rumbling of his proclamation to the kings and rulers of the world, was revealed in Adrianople and addressed to Nasruddin Shah of Persia. But it was sent to him from Akka. Its dispatch required a personal messenger, as it would have been impossible for the Shah to receive the tablet through any other channel. The person who was created anew and performed the sacred mission was a youth of 17 by the name of Akka Buzurg, entitled Badi. The father of Badi, Haji Abdul Majid Nishapuri, known as Aba Badi, was one of the outstanding believers of the Baha'i Faith and later became a devoted follower of Baha'u'llah. Although Badi grew up in the home of a very devoted believer, he was not touched sufficiently by the spirit of the faith as to make him believe in the cause, and he remained cold and aloof in relation to it, until, during the visit to his home of a travelling teacher, Mullah Muhammadi Zarandi, Nabil Azam, he listened to some verses from a long poem by Baha'u'llah and was so entranced that he devoted the balance of his life to serving him. After his conversation, he set out to visit Baha'u'llah, travelling on foot from Mosul to Akka. Badi arrived in Akka early in 1869. He wandered in the city for some time, not knowing the residence of his Lord or how to enter it. He went to a mosque, and there he sighted a few Persians, and he knew that the one standing in front of them was none other than Abdul Baha. He waited till the prayer was finished and then approached the master with great reverence and handed him a note containing 2 lines of a poem he had hurriedly composed on the spot. In it, he had, without introducing himself, declared his loyalty to the master and his faith in Baha'u'llah in moving and tender language. Abdul Baha warmly welcomed Badi and managed to take him to the barracks. Badi was ushered into the presence of Baha'u'llah alone on 2 occasions. In a tablet to the father of Badi, Baha'u'llah recounts in moving language the exciting events which took place when his son attained his presence. He indicates that when he desired to create a new creation, he summoned Badi to come to his room and uttered one word to him, a word which caused his whole being to tremble. He affirms that had it not been for the divine protection vouchsafed to him at that moment, Badi would have swooned away. Then the hand of omnipotence, according to Baha'u'llah's description, began to create him anew and breathed into him the spirit of might and power. So great was the infusion of this might, as attested by Baha'u'llah, that single and alone he could have conquered the world through the power of God, had he been ordered to do so. Badi begged Baha'u'llah to be allowed to deliver the special tablet to Nasruddin Shah, knowing full well that he would have to lay down his life. Baha'u'llah accepted him for this important mission, instructed him to proceed to Haifa, where he would be given that tablet. It is recorded that he was a very happy person, smiling, patient, thankful, gentle and humble. Many a time he could be seen walking about 100 feet from the road in either direction, turning his face towards Akka, prostrating himself to the ground, saying, O God, do not take back through thy justice what thou hast vouchsafed unto me through thy bounty, and grant me strength for its protection. Badi travelled on foot all the way to Tehran. On arrival in the summer of 1869, he discovered that the king was on a camping expedition. He made his way to the area and sat on top of a rock far away, but opposite the royal pavilion. There he sat for 3 days and 3 nights in a state of fasting and prayer, awaiting the passing of the royal escort. On the 4th day, the Shah, looking through his binoculars, spotted a man dressed in a white garb, sitting motionless and in a most respectful attitude on a rock opposite. He guessed that he had some demand to make for justice or was seeking help for his difficulties. He sent his men to find out who he was and what he wanted. Badi told them that he had a letter from a very important personage for the Shah and must hand it to him personally. The officers searched him and then brought him to the king. Calmly and courteously, he handed him the tablet and in a loud voice movingly called out the celebrated verse from the Quran. O King, I have come unto thee from Sheba with a weighty message. Badi was arrested. The Shah was taken aback by the courage and fearlessness of Baha'u'llah's messenger. He ordered his men to get from Badi, first through persuasion and promises, and then by torture if he refused to cooperate, the name of other Baha'is. The officer in charge was Kazim Khan. At first Kazim Khan spoke to him kindly and gently. He said, "Give me a full account of all this. Who gave you this letter? From where have you brought it? How long ago was it? Who are your comrades?" Badi replied, "This letter was given to me in Akka by Hazrat Baha'u'llah. If you want Baha'is, they are numerous in Iran. And if you want my comrades, I was all alone and have none." Kazim Khan pressed him to tell him the names of his comrades and the names of Baha'is of Iran, particularly those of Tehran, and he persisted with his denial. "I have no comrade and I do not know the Baha'is of Iran." He swore to him, "If you tell me these names, I will obtain your release from the Shah and save you from death." Badi's reply to him was, "I am longing to be put to death. Do you think that you frighten me?" Then Kazim Khan sent out for the bastinado, and Farashes 6 at a time started to beat him. No matter how much he was beaten, he never cried out nor did he implore. When Kazim Khan saw how it was, he had him released from the bastinado and brought him to sit beside him, and told him once again, "Give me the names of your comrades." Badi did not answer at all and began to laugh. It seemed as if all that beating had not harmed him in any way. This made Kazim Khan angry. He ordered a branding iron to be brought and a lighted brazier. While they were preparing the brazier, Kazim Khan said, "Come and speak the truth, else I will have you branded." And at that time he noticed that Badi's laughter increased. He had him bastinadoed again. Beating him that much tired out the Farashes. So Kazim Khan had him untied and taken to the back of another tent, and told the Farashes that by dint of branding they ought to get a confession from him. They applied red-hot iron several times to his back and chest. Kazim Khan could hear the sizzling noise of the burning flesh and smell it too. But no matter how hard they tried, they could get nothing out of him. Then Kazim Khan lost his temper and ordered a plank to be brought. A Farrash who wielded a pounder used for ramming in iron pegs put Badi's head on the plank and stood over him with the raised pounder. The Farrash brought down the pounder on his head. His skull was smashed and his brain oozed through his nostrils. Kazim Khan was astounded by Badi's behavior and endurance, astonished that all the beatings and application of red-hot metal to his body had no effect on him, causing him no distress. A year and a half later, on the journey to Karbala, this Qasim Khan went mad. The Shah had him chained and he died miserably. The photograph of Badi, the Prince of Martyrs, with the rods of iron in the foreground, is the best testimony to the spirit of steadfastness and resignation, of calm and assurance, which his face portrays. For a space of 3 years, Baha'u'llah continued to extol in his writings the heroism of that youth, characterizing the references made by him to that sublime sacrifice as the salt of my tablet.